You.
I'm going live
With or
too.
without you,
With
sir.
or without you.
We're live once
We are live.
again.
Excuse me, dog.
Later.
Okay, hi.
She has to sit at a weird angle because the dog has laid all here. His head.
Alrighty.
Tilt your body out of the way. You see his head. Look that way. Look, there's the dog. And so his body, yeah, I pushed her off. So his head is here. As you see, he's not planning to move. His body comes all the way to my leg. So he's taking it. So there's about this much space for her to sit at.
That's okay. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Make sure you check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. Thank you for watching us right now on Facebook and YouTube. You can also find us on Instagram and the Twitter.
And this is not a plug for Clear American water, but it was delicious.
We drink a lot of that stuff.
You do.
We probably shouldn't because it has that fake sugar stuff that supposedly gives you
Does it?
cancer. But then that was that conversation with your friend who was like, it doesn't give you cancer.
Oh, it does have aspartame.
Who knows?
Who knows? They say it does,
I
it
think
doesn't.
everything probably
Yeah,
gives
at
you
this
cancer.
point, after seeing the movie I know about, Dark
Lord.
Waters, that water is the least of our problems.
Yeah, I think water in general is probably.
If you watch Dark Waters, you'll stop worrying about what you're eating and stuff because you already know you're infected.
Well, I think we're all infected with something.
Well, speaking of being healthy,
Merry Christmas.
being Christmas, I'm going to eat this Christmas cake right here.
Well,
You know why?
Why?
I don't give a crap. Whatever I want, I'm a grown person.
You are. Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
This-
Hi.
well,
Oh,
hello.
Vader woke up.
He's heard you can't eat this, buddy. This is sugar stuff, so you can't have
You're
this.
sweets.
I'm sorry.
You don't eat sweets.
I wonder if you smell it. You can't bite it, but you can smell it. No. Okay, no, you can't have that.
Bad.
All right. Anyway,
All
sorry.
right. Anyways, we're going to talk about some movies. We got a lot to talk about today. We also, oh my goodness, there's things happening that I didn't get
Well,
to
I mean,
finish reading. Okay, I have all my stuff open. I'm ready to go.
Well, go ahead then.
All right, so the first one let's talk about is a Netflix release that just came out, starring.
I'll wait.
Are you going to help me?
No, I was gonna let you figure it out. It's funnier that way.
Okay, it has Deadpool. It has Pineapple Express's brother. Has that.
It's Ryan Reynolds and Dave Franco.
And then it has that beautiful Hispanic lady.
I don't know who that one was.
She's familiar to me from something. And then the other lady who I don't know what she is. She's a blonde lady, but she's very
from
cool
Inglourious
too.
Bastards.
There you go. So that's what we were watching. It's called Six Underground on Netflix. And who is the director?
Michael Bay.
And you can tell because as soon as it
This
starts,
is
there's a car flipping.
This was not my quote. It was a quote from another review. I don't remember where I saw it, but it's the most accurate quote I've ever heard for this movie so far. This is the most Michael Bay movie, most Michael Bay of any Michael Bay movie.
Yeah, it really is. Our camera's crooked.
If anybody knows Michael Bay, if you don't know him, then you're probably crazed. He made all the Transformers movies. He made the Bad Boys movies.
Robots in Disguise.
He made, I don't know if he's a producer on the Bad Boys or if he made them. Anyway, he was involved in them. He made Pain and Gain.
Oh.
He made 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi. So, but he's known for large explosions,
Here,
crazy action, that kind of thing. And this movie, like in the first 5 minutes of the movie, goes right in. It probably lasted.
It's a long.
It lasts like 15
action
minutes.
sequence.
10-15 minutes.
And there's cars flipping, and there's explosions, and there's my favorite things, and people
getting run over. Like, even if you don't watch the rest of it,
it's stressful.
I'm going to be honest with you. We haven't even finished the movie, but we wanted to talk about it. Because just that opening sequence is so over the top, insane, intense, over the top. Like, I was sucked in immediately. I don't know if the movie's good or bad.
I was having a little bit of like, woo, because there is so much happening.
There's comedy, there's killing, there's racing, there's explosions.
Well, it's interesting. So
Dismemberments.
from what I got, the gist of the story, a bunch of these people, they're ghosts, which means they fake their deaths. Not a big revelation there. And they're doing missions for the betterment of mankind. So there you go. And they're on a crazy mission. And I don't even understand what's happening.
Just the opening of this movie, I'm telling you, it might be one of the greatest action sequences I've ever seen shot. Because there's so much happening.
It's pretty hyped up.
And I think even if you don't want to watch the rest of the movie, just watch that. Like we haven't finished it. We don't normally talk about movies we haven't finished, but that one was so intense.
Crazy.
I'll get a proper review of the whole movie up later. But I'm telling you.
Go check out Six Underground now on Netflix.
There's another one on Netflix we haven't watched yet. Hopefully we'll get to watch this one. We'll talk about it next week, called Marriage Story, that we're really looking forward to.
It just seemed really heavy, and yesterday was already a heavy day, and I just couldn't emotionally handle
we couldn't deal with it. But it's Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson. It's about marriage and kids, and it's one of those that's being nominated. They're talking about what? She says hair's missing. That's been that way because of its color. But it's I think they're being nominated for stuff.
Are they?
Yeah, some of it's been popping up. So
and there's stuff coming up now on the line that we didn't get to watch. Like Little, I don't think we got to watch.
Where's that on?
It's on Hulu or Amazon or somewhere. It's available now.
Pay for it.
Well, no, I don't think so. I don't pay for things. Anyway, but then also we never got to see the movie with All Right, and Princess Diaries.
Well, from what I heard, we haven't missed anything.
Shoot, I was hoping it was really good.
I've heard it's pretty bad.
Okay, well, oh well. And as you know, I don't know anyone's name. I refer to them by as a character from some other movie, so you'll get it.
You don't even refer to them by character. You refer to them by something they might have said one time.
I know, but you know what? I would be awesome at doing trivia questions, like. The actor.
No, because we play these games where you do these questions and they're the most obscure versions of what you have.
But you understand what I'm saying.
I understand it because I know you're batshit crazy.
I guess so, but thank you.
We played that game with people.
There was a clue. The answer was Eminem, and I'm like, he has Dr. Dre
locked in
his basement, and you're like, Eminem? I'm like, yes.
But we played this game with people.
They look at me like
I think we're cheating because when I answer the question, they're like, how did you get that from what she just said?
You know who All Right is? Everybody
That's an obvious one. I'm just saying.
You know who Princess Diaries is?
I'm aware. So, I'm just saying those are obvious ones, but you say things like really obscure, weird things. It might be like a KFC commercial they did 3 years ago.
Reba McEntire.
Before they were famous, and then everybody's like, what? Do you know who started their career, speaking of KFC? And this will segue into our 6 Underground on Netflix, but I'm going to segue into something else. This one you won't know the answer to, but this segues into something I watched. Do you know who got their, probably a lot of people, but this specific person, whose first acting gig, I believe, was, and they were discovered from a KFC commercial? It's somebody that I'm not only a fan of, but I know personally.
That guy from the TV show you did where you were a militia.
That is no. That is my.
Okay, then no, I don't know.
Now everybody's gonna be like, "What TV show were you on?"
Bobby was on a TV show.
I've been on a few. It was none other than martial arts lady dragon icon Cynthia Rothrock.
Oh, cool!
And it's funny because
was she kicking chicken?
No, it's a 1980s.
That's right.
It's 1980s. It's like all these people around her. She's like almost like she's doing a karate demonstration. She's in a karate uniform. She chops some bricks in half. Says something about the chicken. People eat it, and she holds the beef chicken. She says something. Then she chops the thing that was holding it, and the whole ground splits open. It's the stupidest commercial, but it's awesome. But I bring this up because not only did you say we were joking with the game, but I watched this documentary. And this documentary was called Iron Fist and Kung Fu Kicks on Netflix. And it's all about martial arts cinema, but predominantly Asian martial arts cinema.
Oh,
like the old Kung Fu Theater and the Shaw Brothers and Golden Harvest and all that. So there's a whole segment about Cynthia Rothrock because her career started in China.
Yes.
Like she left, she was discovered from that commercial.
That's so cool.
She was a champion forms competitor and was discovered from that commercial. So she went to China and started shooting movies over there. And she made a bunch of movies over there before she came back here and made stuff like China O'Brien and Tiger Claws and things like that. But what are you looking at?
I'm looking at my movie. I'm talking about. You keep talking.
So, but anyway, the movie kind of takes you through the history of like Bruce Lee's career, Golden Harvest creation, the Shaw Brothers career, and their transitions to different things, how things have become popular, how they got different, like Chuck Norris's very first movie, or big movie anyway. I think he did maybe one other small thing, but was Return of the Dragon with Bruce Lee, which is their famed, considered one of the greatest martial arts fight scenes on film, where they fight at the Roman Coliseum. And Bruce Lee called Chuck Norris because he was a world kickboxing champion and said, "Hey, I want you to come and fight me in this movie." And so he plays this guy Colt, I believe, is the bad guy in the movie.
Nice.
And he's like, "Well, who's going to win?"
Did he have his chest?
That's where he gets the chest hair ripped out.
Oh.
And he's like, "Well, who's going to win this fight?" And he goes, "Well, I'm the star." So that's kind of how the movie played out. But it's very interesting. It's another Netflix documentary, but hearing the stories of how they built some of this stuff, because like a lot of the Asian films were very operatic. back then. They used a lot of the stuff. So I never really pieced the two together. But if you go back and watch like the old Chinese super ninjas or one-armed swordsmen, or things like this, the flying guillotine, that kind of stuff. If you watch the way they did the fights, they were very choreographed, like operas, like stage productions. That's why the fights were always like, they were very 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and that became a deal. The wire work, the big stories, the sweeping epics, love stories, and all the different scenes that kind of came along with it. And like the Shaw brothers had taken that kind of by storm and created this industry, and talks about how they got really big, and then also how they had turned down Bruce Lee as a star because nobody knew he was, but they're like, he's more of an actor kind of thing. We're looking for this. Yeah. And Bruce Lee stepped on the thing and he changed the martial arts game because he did fights that looked like real fights. Yeah. Even though they were still choreographed, there was more of a realism and a bluntness to it than the Yeah,
there was a little more movement.
And they turned him down on, which was like strike one for Shaw Brothers. And then after he passed away and all that stuff happened, and as the history of when they made Game of Death and all the Bruce Lee impersonators and all the stuff that kind of went, it make hardcore Bruce Lee fans mad if you don't know the stories. It can probably irritate you to no end. Okay. But you moving, bud?
You need to go down.
But then it shifts also into the next generation, which is when they've also come up with an unknown guy named Jackie Chan, who Jackie Chan's in Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee. He's a stunt fighter. And you can see him really quick on screen. He's getting choked, whatever. And Shaw Brothers turned down Jackie Chan, too, because they're like, he didn't have the look of a star. They weren't interested in comedy.
Bad move there, too.
Yeah, so that was like strike two of like two massive international superstars. One who's still alive and still making movies. The other one who's become an icon in history for martial arts. They turned down both of them. They were those people. A lot of people say those were the two nails that probably put them out of business because Golden Harvest took them and turned them into these international superstars and whatever. So anyway, but it goes through all these different people's careers. It's got a lot of new interviews with the people that are around. It's got vintage interviews with Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan and Chuck Norris, but it's got new interviews from Don the Dragon Wilson, and Cynthia Rothrock and Richard Norton and all these different people. And they're talking about the differences between making movies. They don't have the insurance and the rules in international filming as they have here. Yeah, so like there's a scene in, I believe it's one of the Police Story movies, I think. I don't remember, but there's a scene where this car drives up, grabs this little girl by the head. I'm talking like a toddler. She can walk, but she's not much else. Grab her by the top of the hair, and they take off. And they're driving with her outside the car. And she's holding on to the person's arm. So it's that trick of, you hold on. Like I used to always tell my kids to grab themselves by the ears. And then when I grab them by the ears, they grab my arms. So it looks like I'm picking them up with their ears, but in reality, I'm picking up by the arms. Yeah. So the girl's holding onto the top of her head, and they're driving and they're shooting. And they're driving, speeding down the street with this little girl dangling, right, screaming and crying. And I always thought that was just
that can't be safety.
Well, they talked about it. They said, like, parents, like, yeah, go ahead. So he said, so they just snatched this girl and took off driving. And everybody was like, you can't make that movie anywhere else. And he said in one movie, there's a building, they blow up to like the top three or four floors, right? But they didn't tell anybody they were doing it because they didn't have the permits. So they said they just waited, and then they did it. And then as they're doing it, they were having to clear people out and making it. So everybody's scattering because nobody knew this building was going to explode. Some Jackie Chan movie. And now the building is exploding. So people down below are running for their lives, literally running for their lives, and the crew and everybody else trying to get away, and then had to explain what they did after the fact.
Because did they get the shot?
Yeah, they got the shot.
Just run and hide.
But it talks about David Carradine and how he had taken over Kung Fu, which was supposed to be Bruce Lee's series that he created, but they didn't think Hollywood he wasn't a bankable star. And of course, by the time he became a bankable star from Enter the Dragon, he'd already died when they got released in America. So anyway, it's just a great thing.
It seems really interesting.
Even if you don't care about martial arts stuff, just the film ideas and what's kind of built into the culture, because it also has an element of how these old school martial arts movies influenced hip hop and breakdancing and stuff like that. Yeah. And there's a lot of Fab Five Freddy and a bunch of the other guys are on this documentary talking about it. That's because in some of the hoods and the ghettos, they had like old theaters that played kung fu movies. They said there's this one strip that all the theaters played nothing but porn or kung fu movies.
Wow.
And so they would go watch all these kung fu movies, and they'd tell their friends. And nobody knew about these movies. They were lower budget releases, international releases, and the people that would release them, because I guess the laws were different and copyrights are different. Like they were talking about how they released 2 or 3 kung fu movies, but they just dubbed over the Shaft soundtrack. So they're watching. They played clips of like this kung fu movie, and it's like Shaft, you know, and it doesn't even fit, but it's making it hip hop style, groove and soul and stuff, so it would capture the American audience. It was an interesting documentary. So it's called Iron Fist and Kung Fu Kicks. Check it out. It was awesome. I loved it. I started watching it, just going to kill a couple of minutes, and then I couldn't turn it off. So I was really interested. It was great.
All right. Well, I too watched a documentary. We're broadening our horizons.
I don't think we had the same experience.
Not at all. Mine made me extremely angry and upset.
Is it about Jim Cotta?
It is not. This is called Undercover with the Clerics, Iraq's Secret Sex Trade.
This doesn't have anything to do with Undercover Brother, does it?
Does not.
Okay.
It's actually very sad.
I bet.
And
sounds
just
like it.
Depressing. And anyway, so basically the idea is that these women are getting dragged into prostitution. And this is Iraq. So remember, illegal. Prostitution's illegal. Sex outside of marriage is like illegal. They will still kill you over there, because it's a very much a religious foundation nation. However,
here only your wife will kill you.
Yes,
if it happens.
So, however,
unless you don't get caught,
what they've done is they've involved the clerics, which are the religious people, like they're priesty people.
They're what?
They're priest people.
Oh, I thought you said they're crispy people. I was like, what's a crispy people?
And what they started doing is they will sell you a temporary...
I don't mean to interrupt you, but there is breaking news.
What news?
This is going to make you sad.
Oh, I'm already...
You want to finish your story first?
Yes.
Okay, finish your story.
This is a tale of woe.
Oh, you already know about it. You already saw it. You commented on it. Never mind.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, yes, I did.
Yes, and you wrote, this is so sad.
They're getting the clerics, which are the religious clergymen, to sell people a temporary pleasure marriage, okay? Because if you're married...
And that right there should tell you something's wrong. There is no such thing as a pleasure marriage.
Because if you're married, it's halal, it's sacred, it's okay because you're married. So you can have sex with someone you're married to. But... Babe, don't be weird.
Who has sex with someone they're married to?
But like you can buy like a 1 hour marriage or a 3 hour marriage, or
if this wasn't so gross the way they've set up, this wouldn't be a bad idea.
It's just disgusting because they're using the religion to cover up the prostitution and the exploitation of women. Because of all of the turmoil and the wars and all these things in Iraq, a lot of these women no longer have husbands or families, and they have no way of making money. And so their religious guide is like, oh, I'll help you. Yeah, but they basically sign them up to be prostitutes.
Yeah.
But they're covering it under the guise of religion, saying it's okay because you're married to this person during this time you're having sex. It's okay. But then there was one story of one lady who had 3 marriages in one day. It was nasty. It was like a 1 hour marriage, and then he left, and suddenly some other guy shows up, and he's like, oh no, you have a 1 hour marriage with me. And then it was another guy, and it was so sad, this poor lady. And then one little girl got caught up in it, and it was just a mess. And so her family disowned her. Her family wants to kill her if they find her, and it's a whole ordeal, and it's just very sad, and it made me angry. So I don't know what we can do, but I'm going to go research what can we do to help people. I don't know. There are shelters.
Ninja Death Squad.
There are shelters for these women. I don't know if there's any way that we can help from over here, except to make it known that these people are doing this. Yeah. And that is just so disgusting to me.
It is.
It's sad. Anyways, so that was the documentary I watched. That was nice.
I'm watching Kung Fu and excitement, and you're down there depressing the world.
It just made me angry.
There's stuff that needs to be seen, so the word can get out.
We gotta know. Yeah, we gotta know this. This is happening.
That story is so sad it made my ear hurt.
Okay, now share your news because this is important news.
Oh, it was just popped up, and I didn't notice it, but it Chelsea Handler's longtime
friend,
whatever. Is it Chewy?
Chewy.
Little Nugget.
Little Nugget
passed away.
That's
And
so
see, when I
sad.
first saw it, though, I thought it was the guy from Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimbo Kimball.
I was like, oh no! And then I looked again. I'm like, wait a minute, that's Chelsea Handler.
What's the guy from Jimbo Kimball? Forgot his name.
Oh,
Sorry.
Goodness, I just went blank. Anyway, so I have another movie I want to talk. Well, I have two movies more to talk about that you haven't seen. So, do you want me to talk about one of them?
Yes.
Or do you want me to?
Guillermo.
Yeah,
this is Little Nugget.
So I have two.
Okay,
I have,
tell me.
One is it's in select theaters and on demand. I've been really looking forward to this because I'm a fan of these ladies. They're filmmakers, not lady filmmakers. They're filmmakers. The Soska sisters, Soska twins, Jen and Sylvia Soska. They're also known as the Twisted Twins, I believe it is. They made American Mary. They made See No Evil 2. They're more often than not horror directors, but they're a duo. They had a TV show forever that I used to love called Elevator.
That was so funny.
It was a reality show with a couple of seasons that dealt with like
not funny, haha, but fun.
Yeah. Anyway, so they did a remake of David Cronenberg's 1977 shock horror film, I guess you want to call it, Rabid. And I forgot what they call that genre where it's not mutilation, but like disfigurement or something.
Yeah, it's kind of that.
I don't remember the name of it. Anyway, the film basically stars Laura Vandervoort, who most might know from as Supergirl in Smallville. She was also a werewolf on Bitten. She was also in the remake revived series V. I don't know what she's on.
I love V. They need to. I don't know why that didn't continue, but we need V.
Anyway,
because aliens are among us.
So she's been in a lot of genre stuff. But she stars in the movie. Basically,
people start thinking that Priscilla lady is crazy.
You are crazy.
They're
scroll that back up for a second. No, don't back down. I'm gonna fix that. This bumped over. But anyway, the movie follows this young lady who's the new version is set in like the fashion industry, and they kind of made her skin blotchy. So it's kind of one of those. They tried to make a very pretty lady, not pretty initially, before we see her later. And she is very beautiful in person. I got to meet her in person. Got her autograph years ago at Wizard World and talked to her. But anyway, she works in this thing, but because she's kind of got the blotchy skin and she's kind of timid and mousy, like the lead fashion designer is a snooty guy. He ignores her and she's stupid, and it's all that cliche stuff.
Yeah,
right?
They always do.
But then she's in a horrible accident, which actually disfigures her face. If you look at the poster for the movie, you can see what she looks like sort of without the bandages. And then she goes to this experimental surgery. Now she's beautiful, and she's just now they're looking at her designs and all this stuff. But with anything like that, you know something bad's going to happen, and so there ends up being some violence and zombie-esque crazed people and monsters and there's all kinds of wacky.
That poster is cool.
Yeah, and this is the movie that I don't know if you remember. This is the movie that got them. Yeah, they had posted pictures from the movie, like some of the photos, and it's her, not the poster, but like a still shot of like her face mangled or somebody else mangled, just showing the post was about, look how awesome the effects look in the movie. Really it got them kicked off Twitter because they thought they were real photos.
Yeah,
that's how good
they
it
were
is.
Doing like a
and they were like, these are too gruesome to post on Twitter, but you can post porn on Twitter, but you can't post movies still for a horror film.
Which I don't even understand how there's porn on Twitter.
Well, like, there is. It's everywhere. Okay? I mean, I've heard. Hey, I have a long-term marriage contract. I don't get to get out of it.
We are going to be together until I'm at least 95.
Jesus Christ.
I'm already planning. We're going to move into a nice senior living facility.
I am never leaving Blakey Manor.
We'll have a new Blakey apartment manor.
No, I want Blakey's shanty.
It's not a shanty.
We're saying at Blakey Manor. Anyway, the movie's actually, I mean, there's a little bit of stuff here and there that could, that's like with any movie. Some of the actors are okay, but it doesn't matter because the movie surrounded is really well done. I have never seen the original. I thought I had.
Reading about the original.
I thought I had, but I guess I haven't. Or if I have, I don't remember it well enough to compare it. But the new ones, it has a slow build as she's kind of descending into whatever's happening to her. But then it's kind of two separate stories because what happens to her kind of spawns a whole other situation, right? So that situation is happening over here. And they don't know she's involved, so her own situation is happening over here, and then they kind of come together, but they still don't know the two are connected, right? There's these crazed people that are
nice.
violently attacking people that are all connected to this. And there's a scene where she's like sitting in a diner with this guy, and all of a sudden this guy smashes through the window, is trying to kill her and him and other people, and so they take him away, but they have nothing to do with her. They just think she's being attacked, so it's a whole thing of but it's the effects are well done. There's a second half of the movie, and I don't know if it was like this in the original or not, that takes it into a different level, because initially it's very straightforward, if you will, and then the second half goes into more creature feature species, like the movie Species, that kind of direction that I didn't see coming, because I didn't know that's what I was doing. I just thought it was going to be the normal stuff. And at first I was like, okay, this is just it. But then it kind of got crazy cool. And then the ending I liked a lot. So I really dug the movie. They did an awesome job. This is, I think, is one of their biggest ones they've put out so far. And it's being distributed by Shout Factory through their Shout Studios, which they actually distribute movies. So it's Shout Factory has numerous sub things. They have Scream Factory. They have Shout Collect.
Shout.
They have, I think, Shout. I think they have Shout Kids.
That's cool.
Then they have Shout Studios, which is
what is in Shout Kids?
They put out like kids animated films and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Whether they're foreign films or re-release and stuff. But then they also now have Shout Studios, which actually puts out new films in theaters and stuff that are new projects, not just all old stuff. So anyway, so if you get it, check it out. It's on demand and digital, select theaters. If nothing else, go check it out and support those ladies. They're hardworking filmmakers. They're super, super nice. I got to interview them and talk to them at a convention, Texas Frightmare, and they were like, they're huggers. They're like super just welcoming to anyone that comes up to them. They're also super comic fans and super nerds. One of them is a massive Buffy fan. And I actually did some original artwork for them. And gave it to them, and they posted all of them back then. So it was actually really cool. But they're cool. I will support anything they do. That doesn't mean everything they do is going to be great. No, there's been a couple things I wasn't a big fan of, but I will support anything they do because they are great people, and they are fighting for women in the industry to get not necessarily that all women need everything, but they're fighting to get more female directors because there's not enough female horror directors. Is what we talk about. And of course now there's the whole movement, so they're very big, and they're very outspoken women too. They don't care what you think about them. So like talking about being up and coming filmmakers, they've been around for a while, but the status they're in, you have to kind of walk on eggshells sometimes with it. So when they start posting stuff like Harvey Weinstein, they're like, blah, 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 like. They don't care, and that's what makes them strong, powerful women, and they're great directors too. So, moving on.
Okay.
So, do you want to talk about the one we saw together, or do you want me to talk about my other one?
Talk to me about your other one, and then we'll save the other one for last.
I feel like I'm talking the whole time.
Oh, okay. We'll go to the other one.
You want to do this one, then I'll go back to that one.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about Jumanji.
All right. So, Jumanji, you may not know.
You got to say Jumanji. And you'll know why once you see the movie.
That's right. Jumanji started in a film in oh God, where's it at? I had it on here.
The 80s.
Yeah, so we'll say the 80s. I don't know the exact year it came out now.
Oh Lord, honey, get your life together.
I know. I don't know. I'm not prepared. I'm trying to look at a little tiny letters.
Jumanji.
Right there. Is it 90s? 95.
1995.
1995, starring the late great Robin Williams and David Allen Greer. What is that lady's name? I always forget her name.
Lilith.
Is it Bebe Newirth? I think that's her name.
Bebe.
Is that her name?
Bebe, yeah.
It's got Kirsten Dunst, Bonnie Hunt.
Kirsten, not Kristen.
It's Kirsten.
Is it?
It's Kirsten. Kirsten.
But you said Kristen.
I did not say Kristen. I said Kirsten.
We're going to rewind the video. Kirsten Dunst.
Rewind the video. I'll wait. I didn't say that. Anyway. And this is the cool 4K they released last year, I think, or the year before. But anyway, the first one was like a standalone movie. It's about a board game, if you don't already know. And you play the game, and the stuff comes to life out of the game, whatever. So this movie is a little bit different than the new ones that have come since.
Yes.
This one's all about the game comes out of the game to you.
Mm-hmm.
And when they originally announced they were going to make a new Jumanji movie, a lot of people were up in arms. They were like, we don't need a remake of this, and then blah, blah, blah. And then we got Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle.
Welcome to the Jungle.
And
they play that song too.
They do. starring Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, Karen Gillan, Jack Black, Nick Jonas. I think Bobby Cannavale's in this one. And it is not a remake. It is a sequel.
Yes.
Some people may. I've talked to people that didn't catch that because they didn't remember the guy's name. So when they saw it,
come on, did you not watch this before you watched it?
No, they didn't.
What kind of people exist out there?
I'm sure they didn't. Well, there's some people that don't even know this movie exists.
Guys,
if you weren't born back then,
it doesn't matter. Anytime you go see a movie at a theater, you got to watch all the others before.
I concur.
Why would you not do that? Why is that not normal protocol, people?
Well, it should be.
I want to reprogram everybody.
Anyway, so
sorry.
I was not a super fan of this movie coming out either, despite being a fan of everybody that was involved. I was like, but the first one was so awesome.
But The Rock is in it.
I'm like, the first one was so great. How are they gonna make this work? And now they got 4 people, and then I came out of the holy crap, the movie was great. It worked really well. Good. It was good. And the nod to the original film, showcasing this is a continuation, made it even better. So obviously, with the chemistry of all the guys involved and how well it did at the box office, we knew we were going to get a follow-up. And, of course, we did, and we got
Jumanji, The Next Level.
And tell us about the new one.
Oh, my goodness.
Tell us the new story.
We still have the same Avatar people. So we have Dwayne Johnson, a.k.a. The Rock.
Not the movie Avatar.
We have Kevin Hart, Jack Black, Karen Gillan. Nebula. And do we know he's in it?
Yes.
Nick Jonas, his avatar's in there.
Hold on.
I'm on the old one right now.
Oh, so you can say because he had Bobby Cannavale in there. Like, what?
Yeah. And
Nick Jonas is a major character now, so.
It's still a continuation. So we're continuing the story still. And
the teenage kids that use the avatars is the same teenage kids coming back again.
Right. But as you see in the trailer, things go wrong. Yeah. And Grandpa whoever's there.
Yeah, so they've added Danny DeVito
Jumanji,
and Danny Glover.
What's Jumanji?
Have now been sucked into the game, which now allows Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson to play them.
By the way, they did a great job.
Here's what's funny is that was one of my favorite parts of this movie is watching them to be 2 old men. Mm-hmm. And I've read a couple of reviews that thought that was the most annoying part of the movie.
Oh, I loved it. That was the best part of the whole movie.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome.
Like everybody did a great job in this.
To me, the whole point of doing this version of it should be to make them act like different people every time.
Yes.
Because if they make another one, there's a little teaser that could make another movie.
Right.
They should still bring the same cast back. And they play those people, different people playing
avatars. Them. I mean, the avatars in the game don't change. Maybe it's different people playing them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I loved about the very first movie. The second movie with Jack Black, because the girl was in Jack Black.
Yeah.
And so Jack Black was so good. And so now we get to see these other people be so good too. Like, they're really good actors, you guys.
Well, and they found a very video game-esque way of being able to make them continuously switch bodies.
Yes.
So you can get the original people in the right bodies, or you can get somebody else. Because even Jack Black and Karen Gillan got to get in on the fun at one point with something they do, and we're not going to explain it, but and it's very video game. It's super simple.
Yeah.
But it makes total sense because you're in a video game world.
Yeah, anything's possible. I just think everybody did. I don't even know what this clip is, but I'm to watch it.
Oh my God, the press for this movie has been
because I can't imagine like Danny DeVito and The Rock. Like already it was The Rock and Kevin Hart.
There was an awesome photo. I believe Dwayne Johnson shared it on Instagram or Twitter. And it's him and Danny DeVito walking in the hallway of a hotel.
That's so funny.
And it is. It looks like he's walking his kid down the street, but it's this little old
hilarious.
Man. But they anytime that Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson they have like a real life friendship.
Yeah.
Like after they became friends after was that Counterintelligence or whatever that movie was, the first one they did, they became real life friends. Mm-hmm. And you can see it in the press. And I'm telling you, if you could just sit on YouTube and watch the interviews and stuff that have been going on for this movie.
Funny.
They're hilarious, and the attacks to each other. But then there's also heartfelt moments where they talk about each other, especially after Kevin Hart's accident. Mm-hmm. Been talking about a lot of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, it's so cool.
And there is once again another big nod to the original film.
Yes,
that I thought was a very clever turn. That we came out of it, I was like,
they did a good job.
Wasn't that
Mm-hmm.
Is that so? I had to look it up to make sure I remembered the right way, or if they just did something to kind of. But it was a direct connection.
And all the movies go together.
Yeah, they're all connected. And
look, all the Jonas Brothers went to go see. That's so sweet. Anyways, it is such a good movie.
It's
I think
fun,
everybody did a great job, and it's fun. And you still have a little action adventure, a mystery to solve. It's great.
The only person, there's one person in there, and she's been on the posters. I'm just going to say who it is. Aquafina shows up, right? I don't know if you knew she was even in it. But she's on on some of the posters, so on some of the solo posters. But she was the only person that felt out of place at one point to me initially. Like the character she's at, because what she's doing at first is out of place, and then when there's a twist to it later, I thought she was better.
Amazing.
You know,
I think she did an amazing.
I think she's great. She just felt a little off to me in this film.
And she's nominated for that other movie too.
Which I like her. Did you know that
that
she was a hip hop star before she was an actress?
I knew that. I did know that.
Look at you.
I love her. I think everything she does is great, but that's just me.
Yeah.
I think everything that everyone did in this movie was so good.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot like the first movie, but different locales, different scenarios, different reason for the game. It's almost like if you bought Mario Brothers and then you bought Super Mario Brothers, and it's like the same game but with a new challenge and new levels and whatnot. But I like that they also have the same avatar that welcomes them. It's the same actor.
Welcome to Jumanji.
He's the same one in both movies, and he's like the connection to the beginning and the end of the films and the games.
I like that guy. Whoever that guy is,
he's been in a ton of stuff. So anyways,
it's
great
watch
fun.
Jumanji.
I don't think it got great reviews.
Level. Well, users are giving it a 7 out of 10. So that's good. I liked it. It was fun.
It was the #1 movie this weekend, of course. I think it was Rock's biggest opening.
If I had to find something wrong with it, I would say the only one thing I don't like is the stereotypical younger girl with an older man with this Karen whoever and The Rock. But Hollywood just does that.
What do you mean?
Making it a love.
But it's not them in love.
I know it's not them.
It's the characters
playing the avatars, which you saw in the first movie.
But in the first movie, they make the jokes about. She's like, "Why am I wearing this? Who would wear this in the jungle?" Like they made the point of that.
They do that.
But you got to remember this is the avatars not in love with each other. It's
I know.
Because remember, The Rock has a love interest this time.
I know. The Rock is an old man, and that little girl ain't old. That's the only thing I got.
His love interest or Karen Gillan?
Karen Gillan. Oh. But that's just normal Hollywood for you.
Well, but I think it fits
that would be the only thing I would ever make a comment about.
I don't think that's relevant to this movie, only because they're not real people.
No, I know they're not real people.
You know what I mean? It's not a real love affair because it's two people that are in love with each other or two people of the same age.
And I love Jack Black.
Jack Black is awesome.
I like Jack Black in anything he does.
I do too. He's awesome.
He always does good movies.
He's another one that seems super friendly.
Yeah.
But I think he could also be super angry.
Maybe. Oh, well.
Anyway,
go check out Jumanji: The Next Level in theaters now.
I thought it was a blast, and I hope that it did well enough because it did well. It did better than the first one. It was one of the Rock's highest movies opening weekends.
Go boy!
And so hopefully it means we'll get another one because I'd love to see another one.
It was fun.
All right. Next. So the last film. Well, I have a couple of quick ones, and then I'll talk about the last big screen one. And the last one we're talking about really bummed me. They didn't do very well because it really should have. Anyway, they're releasing the. What year was this? This was easier to see. This is 1984. It's Francis Ford Coppola's The Cotton Club Encore. Oh. The Encore is because it's basically a remastered and restored version that basically makes Coppola's original realized vision of the film. Oh. This movie had a lot of controversy around it. I posted on the review of it a clip that's Coppola talking about it now. And it talks about like lawsuits and a murder and all these different things that were involved when this movie was being made. It's sort of a musical, but not. Mm-hmm. The whole movie takes place at the Cotton Club. Yeah. The famed Cotton Club. Mm-hmm. It follows a lot of real life gangsters.
Gangsta.
With a fictitious story using the factual situation.
Yeah.
So like some of the gangsters, I looked it up after I watched it, like James Remar, who is, he was Dexter's dad.
Yes.
And he's also in Black Lightning.
Yes.
He plays a mobster in this movie. And when he got killed in there, I looked up to see if that character was real. And he was actually killed, and he died the way he died in the movie.
Okay.
But Gregory Hines is in this movie. Richard Gere.
Does he tap dance?
He does him a lot because it's a hit. So there's a couple of stories. Richard Gere's character ends up finding his way somehow connected to some of the mob stuff, and then also kind of becomes an actor. And Gregory Hines and his brother are both tap dancers, performers. They're trying to make their way through the club circuit and get to the Cotton Club, which is the big club that's perform at. And they're trying to get to. What's crazy is it's a club they can perform at, but they can't. Black people aren't allowed to go to it.
Right.
So that's a whole part of it. Lawrence Fishburne, aka Larry Fishburne, in this movie, is here. Diane Lane. There's a lot of young people. Fred Gwynn is in this movie as a mobster.
Wow.
Bob Hoskins is in this movie. Nicolas Cage is in the movie. Of course, he's a Coppola. So, huh?
Was he super young?
He's super young. He's a Coppola anyway. So, but he's like a crazed mob hitman type. But it's actually a really good movie. I enjoyed it. It was way more violent than I thought. I think when you look at this cover and you see Gregory Hines dancing with some lady on the front, and you see trumpets on the back, but even though the trumpet is made to look like a Tommy gun in the back,
that's cool.
I expected it to be more of a little more lighthearted club film, but it's essentially about the mob.
Yeah.
And one person taking another mob guy's lady, and it spawns this, and then it turns into a mob war, so there's all these murders. And so, but I have never seen the original version, so I don't know to compare between the old cut and the new cut, but it's actually pretty good.
There you go.
So this will be available this week. Or no, this one's available already. So the Cotton Club Encore Edition, it ain't real life, it's jazz. That's what it says right here. The next one is this movie called Lucky Day. It's another one that came out this past week. It's got Luke Bracey, Nina Dobrev. You like her?
I do.
Crispin Glover, who I love.
A skinny dude.
Yeah, creepy one. Clifton Collins Jr., who I love.
Like him.
It's a very quirky movie. It's about a guy that gets out of prison. His wife, which is Nina Dobrev, I think she's supposed to be French in the movie. She's like an artist, and he's trying to get like money or something. But anyway, Crispin Glover shows up, and he's like an assassin. He's a French assassin, but he's not actually French. He's a guy who just thinks he's French.
Oh, good.
But he talks with a French accent. It's super hyper violent. A lot of quirky, weird characters. Out of nowhere, in a bar scene early in the movie, Martin Dacascos is there. He doesn't fight. He's just having a conversation at the bar, and then he gets killed. I was like, what? But it's a great little quirky movie if you like stuff like True Romance and Pulp Fiction, like just bizarre characters and violence and that kind of thing. And ironically, it is from the co-writer of Pulp Fiction and a producer of True Romance. So it fit. Before I even read the box and knew that I was watching, I'm like, this feels kind of like a Quentin Tarantino movie. And it did. That's why.
There you go.
So it's called Lucky Day. It's available now as well. You check it out.
Okay.
What was I talking about before that? Oh, the other movie. Am I going to that one? Okay,
Yes.
So the other big one in the theater, which I'm bummed, it didn't do very well at all. I'm very sad about this for a couple of reasons. It's a movie. It's a new Clint Eastwood movie called Richard Jewell. It's about the guy Richard Jewell, who was the security guard that found the bomb at the Atlanta Olympics in the 80s, I think it was 90s. I don't remember now. What year was it? I just went blank.
1996.
96 Olympics in Atlanta. And basically what happened is at that time, he was kind of a hero, and he became, he discovered, he was this guy who had been outed as, he had been a police officer. I think at one point he got fired, and now he's trying to build his way back up to being a police officer again. He's a security guard, but he takes his job very seriously. He's like, you need to clear the perimeter. And the other guys kind of laugh at him. He's just a big, heavy set guy, lives with his mom, played by Kathy Bates, who's excellent in the movie. But he discovers the bomb. And then after becoming a hero, he was like, he'd gotten fired from being a campus security guard at a college because he was super hardcore enforcing stuff. And they said that he was being too hostile or whatever. So that guy, I don't know if he was factual, that's just part of the story, but this guy, and for other reasons, he became not the hero of the story, he became a suspect of the bombing. And they said they suspected him of trying to get his way back in the thing about making himself a hero.
Oh, goodness.
Because where he went during the bombing and how he saved people, like, how did you know to be on that side and be away from the bomb and this and that? And because with the bomb with nails in it, and it should have killed a whole bunch of people, and it didn't kill hardly anyone, just a few police officers, I think, and some injuries. I don't remember exactly how many. But anyway, it's a great movie, super, super good. But the whole movie's about, one, the case of them trying to catch him, and you can see a lot of, it's not so much corruption, but the determination by the police to prove that this guy did it because they're convinced he did it.
Yeah.
And there's also the press doing a story basically saying he did it. So now they've made him guilty without having proof because they thought they had proof because the police told them they had proof, but they didn't have what they said they had. But Paul Walter Hauser, who is the star of it, is insanely good. Most of you may know him from I, Tonya.
Yeah.
He was the guy that said, I'm a hitman.
It's fun.
So funny. He was in Black Klansman. He's done a lot of stuff, and he's been around for a while, but he's just now kind of breaking into like thing. And I think this might be his first lead where he's carrying the whole movie. And he's insanely good in it. I think like Oscar worthy type thing, and I think there's buzz about him.
Yeah, I mean he's good. He was funny in the other movie. Anyway, he was good in that.
He is, and what's weird about this movie is it's a heavy movie and it's kind of sad, but he looks kind of like the guy.
Yeah, he does.
But he's funny at moments. He's emotional. He's serious, and it's interesting because like one of the best scenes of the movie, or there's two great moments. The whole movie's excellent, but there's two great character moments and we've talked about some of these kind of moments on the show before. One of them is when he finally stands up for himself, because like part of it is he's just this laid back guy, but he respects law enforcement so much he cooperates with everything they want. Because he's like, I want to help solve the case. I want them to know that I'm innocent, and I want them to find the real guy. So not thinking the fact that these guys are trying to screw him over.
Yeah.
They're like, can we come in and search your house? He goes, yes, of course, come on in. His lawyer, played by Sam Rockwell, he's like, dude, stop being nice to these people. Mm-hmm. Why are you not pissed off? Mm-hmm. These guys, he goes, well, we're brothers. He goes, you're not brothers. He keeps looking at him, and there's a moment where he finally stands up for himself, and his knowledge comes out, his anger comes out, his kind of mockery of them comes out, and that's the great scene. But the best scene of the whole movie is one of the last scenes of the movie, is when it's all over. And this isn't really a spoiler because it's a real life, but he was all the charges were dropped against him. I think it was like 6 years later when they finally found the real person. Oh my gosh. So the entire time, people,
we know who that was.
Most people still think, most people that entire time, I think it was 6 years, but it was a very long time. But, that entire time, people still, assumed he did it. Because he might have given let go. But between the press and the case, a lot of people thought he was guilty. Yeah, but there's a moment when the case is over that you see, without him saying a word, you're seeing everything that he's gone through for this 2 hours in this movie. So however many long time it's been in his life, where it just washes over him. He realizes it's over. He's able to relax, and he just breaks into tears, and he's just angry and upset because he knows he can kind of have a life again. It's such a powerful movie, but it's
the real guy they didn't catch until 2003. So it
was a long time
to live with.
And they show that moment in the movie when he finds out about it too, and it's a great moment because he comes back and tells me, he goes, he's working somewhere else. I'm not going to say just so you can see how it turns out, but he's like, they come to tell him, and he's like, can I go to the sentencing? Can I go to the trial? Because he wants to be there he wants to see it to the end. That's how dedicated he was to being a law enforcement. The guy has passed away since then, Richard Jewell. Yeah, but I think his mom's still alive, so she's getting to see all this stuff finally. Him kind of being cleared publicly through this film, which is why this film is important. This is a perfect case of how the press and everything else makes someone guilty before they do anything else. And even in the movie, even when Olivia Wilde, who plays the journalist, finally realizes the truth, she's trying to change it, but it's too late. You put it in somebody's ear, and no matter what, you come back and say they're innocent, we found the other person, they're still going to think.
Well, and that's the problem now with social media. Everybody thinks they have the right to accuse someone. Yeah. And that's kind of the society we live in now, where you have to prove yourself innocent. And that is not how the system's supposed to work. And I mean, this was the 90s. So I feel like this is like one of the first big examples of how.
I'm sure there was a bunch of them, but it was a big public because of the Olympics and everything else.
Yeah, how the media can just ruin someone's life. And this poor man, and when you read his sad story of how he died, I mean, he wasn't healthy after that anyway, and had issues and heart problems and diabetes. I mean, it's just horrible. And I bet all of what happened could have contributed to his health.
I'm sure again, the stress of it. When you see everything he goes through, because even knowing the story, seeing everything he goes through, but I was more impressed by him, the individual. Like Hauser as an actor is amazing in the movie. Obviously, I don't know if he acted exactly the way the real guy did. I'm assuming he did his research. Most of these guys do.
Yeah.
But to see the way that guy handled it with interviews and people he talked to, with the press and with this and that, anything that he had involved, that guy had an elevated mentality because of his respect for the law and his respect for human life, I guess, if you will. Is he thought more about what his mom thought about him. He cared about getting the truth in this crime. Mm-hmm. He was worried about if they're still looking for me, they're not going to get the right person, and someone else is going to die. And nobody wanted to hear it because they just knew it was him, right? And he stuck by that the whole time of not even just maintaining his innocence. It was, I'm trying, the law and other people are going to die if you keep doing this. And if you did what, he never attacked them. He was always, I'll do whatever you need to help. We're brothers in arms in the law. We're fighting for law. We're trying to do the right thing, and people, even before that, people mocked him because he did the same thing. There's a great moment early on after the bombing because he kept telling everybody, I found a bag. And they were like, whatever. And he finally gets people to look over there. And when they finally say, okay, this is really a bomb, the other guy goes, I'm never going to doubt you again. Mm-hmm. But it's such a great movie, and it didn't do very well at the box office. Please, please, please go check it out. If for no other reason, this guy's story deserves to be told.
And that's probably what started also, too, that if you find a bag unattended,
yeah.
It's probably the start of that. That, now that you have to take clear plastic bags to a stadium, you can't even take purses and backpacks anymore.
Yeah, and then there's like whole moments of like...
It's so sad. It makes me angry.
It also shows how they can take the simplistic thing and spin it. Because like at one point they're like, well, why were you at this concert on this day and then not on this day? And he's like, because my mom wanted to watch Kenny Rogers. Because Kenny Rogers was performing at the Olympics day.
Yeah.
But because it was so coincident, God forbid, he was really just watching Kenny Rogers, But please, please, please check it out. I have no dogs in that race. I just love him as an actor.
Is he nominated for something?
I don't know if he is yet or not, but there's been a lot of buzz about it. I love Clint Eastwood as a director, but this is just another one of those movies that I think it's a story that deserves, especially now, it needs to be told. And I think you need to check it out.
There you go.
It's in theaters now. Richard Jewell. You will know his name. It's kind of in the tag thing. I didn't just say that.
Okay.
All right. So I guess that's going to be all those stuff there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we got a plethora of things coming out this week.
All right.
So we've got Lucy in the Sky is coming out.
Lucy in the
Sky. Movie. What the hell's going on over there? Acceleration, a new Dolph Lundgren movie.
Dolph Lundgren.
You okay?
Yes. I don't know
Downton Abbey, the movie, is coming out to Blu-ray. We've never seen a single episode of Downton Abbey, so we didn't see the movie. Ad Astra with Brad Pitt is coming, which I think I liked it more than you liked it.
Yeah, it's a little slow for me, but the actual, once we get where we're going and we get to the main story of the inter-family relation action drama part, that part got me because I feel like you're destined to be your family somehow. Yeah. It happens. But it does get, there's a lot of blah to me.
Yeah.
Once we get there, I'm okay.
Abominable.
I love this movie.
Which is really funny that she loved this movie so much that I realized she never wrote a review for it like she was supposed to.
My bad. But I love this movie. I better get a copy of it.
I have not seen it.
It is going on my top 10.
Oh, wow. Year. Okay, well, I haven't seen this yet.
I love it that much.
So right now, I'll just mock
the animation.
I'll just mock your silliness.
I love the movie, and it connects with me because it's a girl playing violin who loves her dad. That's me.
There's a new slasher flick called Trick coming out, which I love the tagline because it's always choose treat. But it's Todd Farmer, and I forgot the other guy. I love them. They did My Bloody Valentine, 3D remake, and some other stuff. And Rambo Last Blood is coming to Blu-ray and DVD. I'm excited to watch that again because I love that movie. It was fun. And I guess that's going to be it for that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Do you want to tell what's coming out before I do the giveaways?
Yes, I do. As soon as I can pull this thing out. There we go. It's not doing what I wanted to do. All right. What is it?
What Lord year do you want to go to the movies? She's going to the movies in 2018, apparently. What are you doing?
I don't know why it did this to me.
Good God, man.
Lord have mercy. This has never happened to me. I'm sorry. Please hold. Please entertain yourself for one moment. Okay.
I can tell you what comes out next week. It's only the biggest movie of the year.
There might be something else besides that.
So
I want to give it opportunity to be special.
There is another one coming out that I don't know.
Okay. So, finally coming out nationwide. And have we already talked about
We haven't talked about it yet because we have this week.
I've been waiting forever. The movie Bombshell, starring Margot Robbie, Charlize Theron, and the other lady, Nicole Kidman, who, by the way, doesn't. It's Charlize Theron, who doesn't look like. She looks exactly like the lady.
Kelly.
Oh my gosh! When we get into this movie, I have a lot to tell you.
This is the Roger L. scandal.
The Roger L. scandal at Fox News, and
Roger L. is played by. Oh God. John Lithgow.
Yes. Great makeup.
Then what else is coming out?
We won't tell you about it till then. There's a little movie called Cats. It is a film version of the Broadway musical. Cats. We'll see. I don't know.
It's got a lot of controversy because of the special effects, which I don't understand what people thought they were going to see.
I mean, because when you go see the show, it's people in cat suits,
and they all look like hobos in the Broadway show because of their clothes and the way they're looking. But I don't understand what they thought they were going to get a big screen version. But whatever.
I don't know. What is this?
Is that the Melissa McCarthy movie?
Yeah.
Is it opening?
It says
I didn't see a trailer for
Super Intelligence.
I can't imagine that's actually really coming out because I haven't even seen a trailer for it.
Babe.
I'm gonna look it up.
It is. On Netflix, there's a movie called The Two Popes.
Togo, I want to watch.
Togo on Disney Plus. Very excited. And then there's this little movie you may or may not know, little film out there called Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. It is the 9th and final installment in the Skywalker saga. Please go watch all the other movies before you watch this.
That's if you don't count Rogue One.
Yes.
Because then it'll be the 10th.
The 10th. But
or Solo, it'll be the 11th.
Saga.
I know.
Please go watch the other movies before this. At least watch episode 7 and 8 before you see 9. Don't be that person that's like, hey, I'm going to go see
Star Wars. There's somebody that went and saw Force Awakens and never saw another Star Wars movie. And we're like,
I don't even understand.
They're like, I said, did you even know what's going on? Not really.
But it was pretty. Like, please don't do that. We're in the middle of a marathon. We got what? 2 more to go?
No, one more.
One more.
Yeah. And by the time we discuss this next Sunday, there's a high chance I'll have already seen it 4 times. She will have seen it at least 3. So
we'll be ready to talk about it. By the 3rd time, I'm going to have my notepad so I can
start. Yeah, so if y'all don't understand what you might say, why would you watch a movie that many times? Outside of being a Star Wars nerd.
Star Wars is such a big movie.
Obviously. What's funny is we now, with The Force Awakens, it spawned a new tradition that we started. Was last year the first time we'd had to break tradition a little bit?
Yeah, I didn't have the day off, but
so I had to go by myself.
But every other movie.
Yeah, but since The Force Awakens, Rogue One, and Solo.
Well, I think we started even with the prequels.
No, we didn't.
Did we not?
No. We saw the prequels, but we didn't have the same tradition.
Okay.
But we go see it Thursday night when it releases at the AMC. Try to do Dolby or IMAX, and then we go to Alamo Drafthouse on Friday.
Eat
during the day for lunch and try to have lunch, watch the movie, see all the fun stuff they put before it.
And then go Sunday. You have to go.
I go normally on the Sundays because with all the movies, they put out exclusive posters at AMC that you can only go on Sunday to get them. I think there's only 2 this time, and with A-List, I can go anytime I want. So
yeah.
So anyway, but we already have our tickets, and my lovely wife scored for us back in September for Thursday and Friday for our 2 standard ones. And you jealous folks out there, we are actually seeing it on Tuesday at a press screening. So we're super excited.
Yeah. So, and y'all probably are like, y'all are weird nerds, but these Star Wars
movies, we are.
But they're so big and there's so much happening, and
we're also dangerous nerds.
But when you see it just the first time, you can't capture it all. So by the 2nd time, you're picking up things.
Yeah, she always watches it the first time, and then she starts taking notes for the shows. And
the 3rd time, I'm taking notes throughout the whole thing because there's things for us to discuss and ponder. And I feel like since everyone didn't like the last one, but I did.
I did too. I like that.
I got it. But
there's parts that have issues. But
yeah, of course. Well, there's parts with every movie I have issues. I mean, even all the way back to the first one, the 2nd one, and the 3rd one. But But there's things and there's nuances, and if you go back and watch them all before you see it, like right now, this whole discussion with Yoda and Luke, or Luke and Leia about run away. I'm like, yeah, well, duh. He's been trying.
Which we're going to go in a little more in depth next week about.
When we get into depth, and we get into these big philosophical discussions.
In theory, unless we can't get it set up the right way, we're going to be coming live from the Star Wars studio next week.
And I welcome everyone. Please log in and comment. You don't have to like the movie. That's okay. We may not like it, but we're still going to support it.
And we're going to be as spoiler-free as possible. Because I'm a firm believer in everybody getting to experience it.
I actually like when people don't like things too.
I do too.
If it's for a legit reason, not just because that's not what you wanted to happen. That doesn't count.
I mean, no, it can count, but I think
don't go into the room of childhood.
What I think the whole problem now is the people saying their expectations of what they think a character or a story should do. And when it's not what they decided, then it's wrong or that it was handled badly or whatever. The bigger picture of this whole thing is this is George Lucas's vision.
Yeah.
And even though now Disney has a hold of it, it's still that vision taken through his eyes and now through J.J. Abrams or Ryan Johnson.
Tell him about the movie.
Whoever's involved, and you may not like where it goes. Like there's a lot of stuff in the Marvel movies I didn't like because that's not what it did in the comics.
Yeah.
But I can respect. I've always separated the universes. I look at the Marvel comic movies. I look at the DC comic movies. I look at them all as Elseworld stuff. They have nothing to do with the original stories. They're just piggybacked off of them. Star Wars stuff I don't look at the comics and the novels and all that stuff. If they connect something to those, I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't look at them like that. I say these are step forward movies. But we also do something that a lot of people don't, is they don't really think about what happened previous with the character or in real life. So we'll get in deeper on that next week because I could start a whole nother hour about this.
Because the last movie, it made sense to me. Was it what I wanted? Probably not.
No, not at all. But
it makes sense why.
Yeah.
And especially when Yoda was there, like talking.
All right, we'll get into it next week. Next week's gonna probably be a longer show because we're gonna have
probably all we'll talk about.
Well, we got the other one movie at least to talk
about all of the movies.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We'll have Bombshell. We'll have to talk about. I don't know.
Yeah, we do have to talk about Bombshell.
I don't know if we'll see Cats or not. That might be a wait for video for me. I don't know.
That might be Christmas Day. If we have
no, I'm seeing 1917 on Christmas Day.
I don't want to see that.
What?
Colin
Firth is in it.
I know, but
there's some other stuff coming on Christmas Day. We'll discuss it.
All right.
So anyway, but with all that discussion, we have some giveaways as well. We're giving away copies of The Gallows Act 2. If you didn't see The Gallows,
watch The Gallows first, then watch The Gallows 2.
So you get the idea. But we're giving away copies of Act 2 on Blu-ray. We're also giving away. Let me see, make sure you can see it when I hold it up here. We're giving away digital copies of Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, Maleficent, Maleficent. Anyway, Maleficent digital copies, not physical copies, digital. They're in the strata up here. We're giving away copies of this. It's on their websites. Check it out. And ironically enough, we were just talking about it. We are giving away. See this little card here? You might not be able to see what it is. This is a little mini poster for The Force Awakens, The Rise of Skywalker, which is cool in itself. It's like a little collector card. But I think, hey, I kind of want one of these collector cards. But it's not this is what you're going to want. You're going to want one in the back. We're giving away Fandango tickets to see The Rise of Skywalker. It's good for one ticket, up to $15 total. You just enter the code on Fandango, go to whatever theater you're going to go to. It is a normal ticket.
It's not. I didn't realize that. I thought it was like go wait in line.
Oh no, this is
a real.
These are real tickets. They're good till March 20th. So
a free movie ticket.
Yeah,
we're giving away free movie tickets
for the Rise of Skywalker. Yes. So you go on there. It's like I said, and I've got a few of these. So
that's so cool, babe.
Thank you very much.
How are we that cool?
Because that's how I roll.
Who knew we were that?
But I have a few of these. It's got a little code on the back. I'm going to cover it so you can't steal the code right now. There's a little code on the back. You basically just go to Fandango. If you have a Fandango account, you set up. If you don't have one, then you just put in the code, and then you pick the theater, and it's one-time use, $15. Go watch. So at $15, you can still probably go to some Dolby's or whatever, and pay the difference, whatever. So we're giving. I actually have a little stack of these. So we have a few of these.
That is so
not
cool.
just one person. So we got copies of these to give away.
I'm so excited.
I didn't know you didn't know that.
No, I thought it was just like a movie pass.
Oh, for like a screening thing?
Yeah, like don't wait in line.
No way. This is to just buy your ticket.
Wow, you get a free movie ticket
Right
from Hollywood Matrimony.
And I will mail this to you so you'll be able to keep this little collector mini poster too. Because once you do it with the code, then you just keep this and say, hey, here's my ticket. It's a little mini card.
There you go.
The hard part about it is I'm a collector. I want to keep all these little cards for myself. So maybe I'll just give you the code and I'll keep all the cards. Anyway, so that's all we have going on right now. We have a couple other contents that are going to possibly pop up this week. I'm in talks with a couple of kind of cool things. So we'll see if it actually happens or not.
All right, then.
Also, don't forget, I'll mention on TV Tuesday this week. This week, The Mandalorian is going to be on Wednesday instead of Friday. So you can see it early because they're going to have a sneak peek at The Rise of Skywalker.
Yes, you want to watch that. That's it.
That's
all I got. Thank you so much for watching. Check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and what am I missing? YouTube. Whoop. Your turn.
Oh, my turn. Well, once again, apologize to Jim Cotta. We have missed you again, but we'll get to you someday. And I also apologize that I did not get to do a martial arts movie Monday last week. I had a bunch of stuff going on. I had an art deadline happening.
Unacceptable.
We had art deadlines. We had some pet drama. We've got family stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff happening and the holidays. So things are killing us. But we're going to get through it. We're going to persevere because we're awesome. But we'll be back tomorrow because I don't have an art deadline now. So I'll be back with an all-new episode of Martial Arts Movie Mondays tomorrow. I got a fun one tomorrow. Then we'll both be back probably in the evening for TV Tuesdays because we're going to The Rise of Skywalker during the day. So we can't very well do a show during the day, especially while we're watching Star Wars. So while you're thinking, hey, this is when I normally should watch TV Tuesdays, you can think that we're sitting in the theater watching The Rise of Skywalker, and then you can be sad for yourself.
There you go.
Then we'll be back for an all-new episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live this Sunday, where we're talking about Bombshell, and we have our epic Star Wars episode. We'll discuss all things Star Wars, and as Mrs. Blakey said, if you want to jump in on the conversation and send messages and talk, we'll discuss it, whether you love it, whether you hate it.
Yeah, I'd love to hear you.
If you just want to talk about Star Wars in general or tell us your favorite dumb things.
Your favorite character. Listen. Yeah, your favorite Star Wars thing.
Yeah, and we'll probably, like I said, we'll probably try to come live from the Star Wars studio.
There you go.
Yeah, in Blakey Manor.
There you go.
That's it.
That's it.
So make sure you hit the subscribe button here on the YouTube channel, or go over there and hit subscribe or like of the Facebook page. Then you hit the little orb up here, hit subscribe if it shows up. Watch whatever trailer shows up over here.
I'm doing all these.
I get you. I say, oh, there you go. And above all else, be nice to each other and have a wonderful day.
Bye. Thank you for watching.
We'll see you next time.
I gotta try to get out of here because the dog's got me
Peace.
pinned in.